You ever board a plane, feeling like you finally made it, like every mile you've flown, every hour you've put in, every quiet moment you've kept your head down just to get to this point? It's all about to pay off, then in a split second, the world reminds you don't really belong, at least not in the way you think. That's where I was, stepping on a Luma Air flight 411 from New York to Lisbon. First class ticket in hand, suitcase scuffed just enough to look lived in, heart beating steady as I watched the chaos of boarding swirl around me. Families chasing kids, suits glued to their phones, people double-checking their passports like the world might change in the next 30 seconds. I kept to myself, didn't rush the gate, didn't need to flash my badge. Years of flying taught me patience is its own kind of armor. You know what I mean? They scanned my ticket, seat 2A, first class, no drama. The agent smiled, called me Mr. Cole like she actually meant it, and I nodded back, calm as ever. If you've ever felt eyes follow you through a space like that, not angry, just quietly measuring, you know how fast the temperature changes, how the hush of first class feels different, almost heavy, almost suspicious. I set my bag under the seat, tried to relax, let my mind drift over an audit report instead of all the stories I carried in my bones. But it never lasts, does it? The lead flight attendant, Brittany Lang, perfect uniform, hair slicked back, eyes sharp as winter steps over, asked for my boarding pass like maybe I'd snuck in when nobody was looking. I handed over, no protest, just the practice chill of someone who's done this song and dance before, and she reads it a beat too long. That's odd, she says. This seat was reassigned this morning. I keep my tone even, tell her I checked to the gate. But she's not listening. Not really. Next thing I know, she's telling me to move, no apology, no attempt to make it right, just a clipped, forced smile that's really just a wall. You don't look like you belong in this seat, sir. Coach is in the back. Like that. She says it plain. And just for a second, I'm not even there. I am 15 again, standing in the cold outside a classroom because a teacher decided my sneakers didn't fit the dress code, not my attitude, just my shoes, and the sting of that old shame flares up out of nowhere. But I don't break. Not outwardly. I take a breath, the same breath you take 100 times in your life, the one that says, don't let them see you sweat. Passengers glance up. One woman, Korean American, seat 2B, looks like she wants to say something but doesn't. Brittany calls over another attendant, Mark Young, eager, doing what he's told. He reaches for my bag, and I stop him with a hand, polite but unshakable. I'll carry my own, I say, and Mark gets tight-lipped, but he backs off. We're just doing our job, he mutters, but you and I both know that job's never written down anywhere. The walk back to economy stings in ways I can't describe. I slide into my new seat near the back, knees cramped, tray, table digging into my legs. I'm holding my audit notes, but I can't read a word. I'm not angry, not the way people expect, just tired, the kind of tired that builds up over a lifetime of moments like this. Small humiliations you're expected to swallow because it's not a big deal. I add a line to my phone's internal notes. Witnessed incident personally. Led purser removed passenger without verifying. Bien evident. Not even names. Not yet. You have to be right, not loud. You have to pick your battles. Then the twist, I watch the man who takes my seat, Carter, preening, loud, all cologne and cheap designer flash. He hadn't said a word, but he didn't have to. His smile when I got escorted out told me everything. But the woman in 2B, she finally speaks just enough to let the cabin know someone saw what happened. Not loud, just true. And that's when the silence in the cabin changes flavor, from complicity to discomfort. But this story isn't just mine. Lena, as senior attendant, double-checks the manifest, sees my name, sees the VIP code, knows I belong there. She tells Brittany, but Brittany's already committed to her decision, doesn't want to make it a thing. She passes it up the chain to Captain Thomas Rhee, a pilot who's seen every kind of emergency except maybe this one, the quiet kind, the kind that doesn't make a sound but leaves bruises all the same. He checks the manifest himself, sees the mistake. No, not a mistake, a decision. And finally, after 10 long minutes, the intercom crackles. We're resolving a seating clarification, the captain says, and suddenly I know. Someone finally sees. I stand in the aisle, let the moment hang. People look at me different now, not like a problem, but like a question they don't know how to answer. When I'm brought back to first class, It's not about a seat anymore. It's about dignity. The captain apologizes, but I tell him I'm not here for apologies, I am here for accountability. I show him the audit memo, the real reason I'm flying. This flight was part of a larger review, I explain. 3 unresolved complaints in premium cabins. Now I'm the 4th. He promises his support, but I'm not here to make a scene. I want change, not drama. Meanwhile, the rest of the cabin feels the shift. Sophia, the woman in 2B, sits upright, silent but strong. Carter looks like he's shrinking into his seat. Lena, who tried to speak up, finally stands tall. Even Dev, a business-class passenger, has quietly documented the whole thing, names, times, everything, sending it up the chain. Olivia Chun, a director flown in as backup, kneels beside me and promises this won't be ignored. For the first time, I believe it. Brittany and Mark are called to the galley. The captain's voice is measured, but the weight in it is heavy. He relieves both of duty, pending permanent action. I back him up, hand over an executive order. There's no triumph in it, just necessity. You judge me for how I looked, not who I am, I tell them. But I built this company to care, even when no one's watching. They're gone before we leave the ground. And the silence in first class? It's not shame anymore. It's reckoning. People don't look away, they look at me, at themselves, at each other, asking silent questions they should have been asking years ago. And for a long stretch, that's all that happens. Just quiet, heavy as gravity. Sophia leans over, thanks me for coming back. I thank her for not staying silent. Lena steps forward and owns her piece of the silence too. Promises she won't make that mistake again. The message spreads the rules aren't changing because of a memo. They're changing because enough people stop pretending nothing happened. When the captain comes back to the cabin, he addresses everyone. A seating decision was made in error and has been corrected. Sometimes the best thing a captain can do is listen. I stand no speech, just a truth. I boarded quietly. I say, no badge, no announcement. What I saw was a reminder that dignity is still selective. Respect still needs to be proven before it's given. But we're all responsible for the corners we touch. This is my corner. The words hang there. Nobody claps. Nobody cheers. Just breath. Just reflection. Sometimes that's how you know it landed. By the time we reach Lisbon, the cabin is changed. No applause, just a quiet exhale as we taxi to the gate. I stand, bag in hand, every eye following, not with suspicion now, but with something like respect. Sophia asks if I want company off the plane. I tell her I need to do this part alone. As I step onto the tarmac, I turn back for a second, not to relive, not to regret, but to remember. This metal burr became a mirror, and sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is just refuse to vanish. You ever walk away from a fight you didn't start, knowing you didn't win it for yourself, but for the next person who's told they don't belong? That's what real change feels like: quiet, necessary, and finally undeniable. That's what justice looks like at 35,000 feet. And now, I want to know, what would you have done? Would you have spoken up or stayed silent? Drop your thoughts below. Let's talk about the seats we fight for and the ones we offer to someone who needs it more.